for his 5 minutes of questioning.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and thank the witnesses for being here. We greatly appreciate your time and expertise and interest in being with us. I represent South Louisiana, New Orleans, and the river parishes, a district that encompasses the river parishes where, unfortunately, a term that we don't like, but we're often assigned, and that is Cancer Alley. The heavily industrialized stretch along the Mississippi River between Baton Rouge and New Orleans, named for its high cancer rates among residents, which are believed to be linked to industrial pollution. I'm particularly interested in how the Toxic Substance Control Act incorporates the concerns and health of fence-line communities like those in this industrial corridor. A prime example of these dangerous chemicals being manufactured in their homes and schools is methylene chloride, a carcinogen with a wide range of commercial uses. We understand, and I've heard discussions today about, well, this is important, and these are chemicals that are needed for everyday life. No one's questioning that. What we're talking about is how can we do it safer? How can we do it better? Just because there are practical uses for it doesn't mean that we should not constantly work on improving it, because people's lives matter. And people who live in close proximity of chemical plants, they matter. And coexistence becomes the order of the day. How do we continue to improve on our day-to-day life while taking into consideration the necessity of having clean water for people to drink, clean air for people to breathe? It's not about us against them. It's not industry against community or vice versa. It's about making sure that we're taking care of our most important commodity, our earth, our people, human lives. Industry is important to all of the above. But you can't tell me we can't do better. You can't tell me that we cannot endeavor to find a better way to produce these necessities of life without killing people, right? So I want to talk about how do we find a way to invest human capital, research and development to do better. So, Dr. Doa, how did the Lutenberg Act empower EPA to address dangerous chemicals like methylene chloride?
One important thing that the Lautenberg Act did is that it made communities a more important stakeholder. It moved away from just the industry to other stakeholders, including communities. And one important step that Lautenberg did was what has been called the whole chemical approach. It's doing a better job at looking at the range of exposures and risks that people in communities face, not only from the facilities, and often multiple facilities are near their community, but the other uses of the chemical, maybe for small businesses in their community, if the chemical is used in consumer products. So by having a better picture of what folks are exposed to, this leads to more informed decisions on how to mitigate those unreasonable risks, which is key. They shouldn't be treated as second class to the prophets for the use of these old school chemicals. There should be innovation to get to safer substitutes instead of using TCE and perchloroethylene and methylene chloride, all these that cause liver cancer and a range of other harms.
And the notion that because we've always done it this way is not a good answer to why we continue doing it this way when we put it next to the startling, alarming rates of cancer deaths. So, Mr. John, can you share with me, from your perspective, what are we doing? What are you doing to work to combat the dangers of business as usual as we attempt to move forward to have a safer way of protecting lives while necessarily using chemicals that are important to everyday life?
I thank you for the opportunity to respond to that. Number one, methylene chloride has been banned by EPA as a paint stripper.
That's totally appropriate, and that's what they should do under TSCA. Number two, and you and I did an event in Louisiana a couple years ago, and we talked about this. Our members comply with a program called Responsible Care. We are not your grandfather's chemical industry. Our members are cleaner and safer than they have ever been. So this is a mandatory third-party audited program. It's a condition of membership.
I'm sorry, I got 22, I have no time. Actually, can I just ask you real quickly? Can you, in 10 seconds, and that's probably more than I have, tell me what's your industry doing to proactively look at chemicals that have always been used and finding ways to make them better so we can lessen the impact on communities?
Well, we've talked all today about new chemicals that we want to get into commerce that have better performance and environmental properties. But our air emissions are down, our greenhouse gas intensity is better. We are 3 times safer than non-members. We are 4 times safer than all of manufacturing.
But those are outcomes. You're not telling me what you've done to get there. So I'm going to yield back. My time is, but I'd love to spend some more time talking with you about that.
And would remind